Well, hello there, everyone. I hope the apocalypse is treating you well. We put out a couple of videos since our last kind of list build. You've been seeing some interesting things, hopefully, with the channel. We've had the crossover with Ion Radio. We've had the Heroes of Lockdown start, hopefully, and hopefully not finish with Valadin. But yeah, we've been working away, trying to bring you some interesting things. So any feedback on this or any of those other videos is well appreciated. Um, I suppose with Heroes of Lockdown, we just kind of wanted to give a shout out to the people who basically let us keep playing through coronavirus. The crossover with Iron Radio was good fun, even though my list completely failed again. The early warning systems really helped John. Um, I think we may need to do it like a test game on Vassal or something so that Ken understands what I'm garbling on about if we build another fleet again. But it was definitely a good fun to just chat away to Ken about what we were building for an hour, even if my production values are shown up for what they are when you compare them to the Ion Radio guys. But it was definitely good fun. I'm posting some of my battle reports, as in when I just do like generally with my battle reports, if I'm playing online, I take a screenshot at the end of each round and post that in there. But it's posted generally in the Ion Radio Discord because they've given me an Irish Mad Cat channel. So go along there, or a lot of the time as well, I post it in the general Discord. Um, but it's easier to see all the ones together in the Ion Radio one. I don't feel there's a need for an Irish Mad Cat Discord, as there's quite enough Discords at this stage. I think I need to join Krabox one still myself. Um, but anyway, so Ken asked a question about ISDs and what we could maybe do with them in 1.2. So this is an SSDs even. So this is kind of what I've been messing around with. Now, it's 400 points. So we've gone with Jurjerod simply because we don't ever need to be maneuvering, you know. It really helps us move around. We've gone with Damage Control Officer and Lyra X6. Now, Lyra's there for objective flipping. We'll go into that a little bit later. I know it seems a little bit redundant with Damage Control Officer, but for example, somebody with HIEs, something like that, a lot of them, you need to be able to stop. Riva de Maze, then, if we've got shields, we can ready a defense token. With SSDs, you run out of defense tokens fairly fast. So, this has been changed slightly. Did I save the change to this list? I might not have. Let's re-roll that. So we're going with Gunnery Chief Vernilion. So we've got H9, so if we have a dice, an extra dice, we can change to an accuracy, put it on her. If we're second, we start with an accuracy on her. And then the reason why I want to kind of combo those is because you got 3 attacks with the Star Dreadnought. You may not get in 3 attacks each round, but basically you can kind of work away fixing those dice. You've also got LTTs to help you reroll, get the hit, H9s, but what I'm trying to do there is with the H9s and Gunnery Chief Vernilion, kind of work it so that you have 2 guaranteed accuracies on those flotilla shots, on those CR90 shots, that you just make them blow up. You know? With the SSD, you maybe only get 1 shot, you know? Quad laser turrets, they're for just firing back at squads, wear them down a little bit. because we've got a defensive squad ball, really. Leading shots, it's just so good, helps with the flak. Even you reroll with linked turbo laser turrets, and then you can reroll again with leading shots. Your H9s for your guaranteed accuracies, so taking down those scatter aces, taking down those small ships, or just if you manage to double arc the big ships, honing on the brace. LTTs are just so good. You can do the super flak, you can do the super flak at long range. And Executor. This is to kind of power up the shields with repair tokens from early on, but also for Lyra Wessex. Now, a Gazanti then just pass more tokens. We're going with CommsNet because while parts resupply might work fine, there isn't the same kind of flexibility, and we want a bit of flexibility. And then we've got 4 TIE bombers, Valan Reader, and we threw in a TIE fighter just because we have the 8 points. Because if somebody's forcing us to go second, they're not going to pick Advanced Gunnery. Advanced Gunnery against an SSD seems madness, because if we lose it, we've lost the game anyway. And then you can really go to town with that front arc. Double shots into something should pretty much deal with most things. Then Asteroid Tactics. So here, this way we'll be able to spend as many defense tokens as we want and spend them recklessly effectively with Asteroid Tactics. So you can basically get back those braces, get back those redirects, and you're getting them back from Riva, so it's doubling down. And then Infested Fields. So you can land, like you can basically move those obstacles around, move those asteroids where you want them, and Lyra Wessex allows you to kind of ignore most of the damage from landing on this stuff, while kind of giving you obstruction from those times you need it. And sometimes it'll be good to obstruct the main arc you're going to fire with, because it'll reduce, you lose 2 to 3 dice, or you lose 1 dice on 1 attack. They'll lose 2 to 3 if they have 2 to 3 ships sitting in that arc. Now you're going to have to be careful with this. You're going to have to maneuver very well, because you're not going to have those gunnery teams. Now you could work it differently, but your first turn is pass an engineering command, gain an engineering token, and token the command, so that you've got that power for Lyra. But mainly we're expecting our opponent to want to go second. And with this, we're hoping to take their Asteroid Tactics. Asteroid Tactics is an incredibly popular objective. Now, if you with your SSD can spend your tokens recklessly, land on an asteroid, get back a token, and not take the face up because you got Lyra, they're going to have a bit of a problem. Because a lot of the time, it's just wearing down those tokens. With this, the hope is, no, you're not wearing down those tokens. Those tokens are coming back. Okay, well that's where I think you could go with an SSD fleet. So the next question we had was from Maxwell Silver. And he says, I watch all the channels you mentioned, Ion Radio, Master of the Fleet and Fly Casual being favourites. They also enjoy the Steel Strategies podcast. Recently watched Ken on Master of the Fleet use Obi-Wan and Expert Shield Techs for the Guard to pretty good effect. I'm interested in your thoughts. Build me a Guard fleet with these 2 upgrades included. Right, so take a quick look at what we built here. Now the one thing I would say is hold on, we definitely have it built somewhere here. Did we save it? Done a great job of saving things today. And we might have been looking at the wrong faction as well. Like, look at these faction symbols. They're like, these 3 are all like variations on the same thing. It's like I get them confused so many times. Anyway, my first thought is that Kenobi is not as good as Bale. If I'm being honest, because this readied token, like this commander does not seem to be good enough for this wave. He doesn't fit with ships with only one redirect because you can't spend it twice. Now, it's not awful, but I have to say I find him unexciting, particularly when Bale allows these guys to do something other than navigate. Because with this chart, if you're not the amount of I've flown 2 acclimators off the board in battles already, and I haven't done that in a long time. They fly like feckin' bricks, and if you're going with Kenobi, I think this means that unless your consulars are doing your squad pushing, you're a bit limited. Now, with saying that, with Expert Shield Techs, the 2 points is grand. And what I've tried to do here is kind of play to those strengths. So we're going with Obi-Wan, we're going with 2 Acclimator 2s. Now, having watched TI on Radio Battle Report, we're adding early warning systems. This thing is such a big front arc for playing against other Clone Wars factions. Reducing the salvo, reducing everything coming back at us is fantastic. Ordnance Experts just gives those black dice a little bit of oomph. And we're going with external racks so that when we do get in close, we're messing them up. And then we're going with XI7s. You could go with LTTs, you could go with H9s, you could go with a lot of things. You could even go with swivel mount turrets with the Ordnance Experts. I like XI7s simply because the amount of redirecting that's being done, particularly on the Separatist ships. So this is kind of built with a kind of Clone Wars era only idea in mind. This is the mirror of Kenobi's ship, except it's got Implacable, because we want to use Implacable kind of keep Kenobi alive. Then we've got a Consular Armed Cruiser, which is really there just for black. And it's got the reactive gunnery. So if the squadron does shoot it, so you're giving kind of not great targets with the acclimators because they've got early warning systems probably on their front arc. And then with the consulars, if they attack the consulars, then you reactive gunnery. So you're generally not going to use reactive gunnery too much against ships. It's more, these are your flak boats. So you can see here, you've got 4 blue flak between the pair of them. And actually, we'll add in Swift Return to this, because we'll go with our 400 points. We've got Parts Repair and Radiant on here to kind of keep those shields flowing and those repair tokens flowing, because we're going to want to be navigating a lot of this. Now, you don't have to go speed 3, you can go in slow enough, but they're definitely like half your dials want to be navigated. And this is why we've gone squadronless with this as well. Because we won't have the squadron commands to keep up with ships. And then we just go with an Acclimator 1, Expert Shield Techs, Ordnance Experts, and XI7s, because we're doubling down on those XI7s. Their redirects are going to do very little. And we want, when we get those external racks, Ordnance Experts shot off, that it'll cut through and cause those criticals. Okay. And we're going with an unusual one, Blockade Run. We like a bit of a knife fight. Got everybody speed 3 at least. And that's 100 points if you get to the end. We're all about keeping our ships alive with the build we've gone for. So knife fight, opponents will have a tough time getting out of that massive front arc. So Blockade Run. Asteroid Tactics, getting stuff back, they're so defense poor. Because effectively we've got 2 defensive retrofits. or sorry, 2 defense tokens which actually defend you. Salvo is great, but it does not defend you. That's why Asteroid Tactics for getting the stuff back. And Solar Corona. Accuracies. We've got no ECM. And we've got a definite deployment disadvantage. But Solar Corona solves that and prevents the accuracies from locking down those braces, which are all important. And the redirects. So yeah, there we have it. As always, my voice is starting to die now. But I'm going to say, if you want a list built for yourself, put a comment in here, ping me on Discord, playing in some leagues, and we've got more coming up. So we've just joined the South Wales TTS League, Vassal World Cup. I still haven't submitted my list, and the deadline is tomorrow. I have no idea what I'm running. There's maybe too many lists in my Kingston Fleet Builder and Warlords and various other places. And yeah, so there's a lot of fun stuff going on. I did not do too well in the 2 leagues I've played in so far. The Clone Wars only league, I was running an early version of Rebuildatron, and the squad ball just wasn't doing enough. So that's why that got replaced with a second Munificent. And in the one where it was all holes, no holes barred 1.3, I still took Separatists and made a huge error. Isn't I built my list really quick? Don't do this. And put in enhanced armaments instead of linked turbo laser turrets because they're the same and they're square. So that tournament, I had a 2-2 record. But you can see the battle reports if you join the Ion Radio Discord or the main Discord. You can see me posting screenshots of them there. But yeah, sure. Hope everyone's well. If anyone has any nominations for the Heroes of Lockdown series, also drop a comment. All right. Or somebody who wants to talk about stuff they've built, be a list builder, bot, or something like that. Or even if you want to talk about the Facebook you run or how you've tried to keep your community going, I'll be happy to talk to you. Anyway, have a lovely day.